Well, Umer, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having
Oh,
me.
you're welcome. Thank you so much for coming. And to kick us off, tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get into real estate?
So, my name is Umar Farouk. I've been doing real estate for the past 3 years now. This
Okay.
is my third year. And never in my wildest dream I thought I would be into real estate. So, I did my business management and I started working in Dubai for about 5 years. And then I moved to Canada. And then I moved to Canada, I wanted to buy a home, of course. And the realtor that we were working at that point of time, we found a home we wanted to offer, but unfortunately, we did not get to that home. And I was so depressed as to like what went wrong, and the price that we had offered was even higher to the price the property was sold. So that took me by a back, and it's like, let me understand what went wrong, right? And then when I dig deeper into it, I would just notice that the realtor did not represent us well. And then I wanted to know more about real estate, started studying about it, and found interest. And then when I got my property for myself, I felt the happiness that one will have when they buy their own property, right? And that happiness led me to kind of pursue real estate and one help people achieve their dream by representing them well and providing the value proposition for them, and that kind of drive interest to why I wanted to be into real estate, and from there on I just love what I do.
Wow, that's an amazing story.
Yeah.
You wanted to buying a home and then losing that home, getting depressed, and then finding out that you were not represented. So that
Yes.
inspired you to get into real estate and then
Yes.
help others.
Correct.
That's awesome.
Correct.
So far that you've been in real estate, what have you come to appreciate about the industry, about the clients? What do you really like about it?
The thing that keeps me going every day is the fact that you get to meet so many different people from different cultures who are in the same boat as you were
Right.
when you were navigating your home search. And when you help them find what they're looking for in the price point that they want, I think that's one thing that helps me get going and kind of pushes me to do that more and helps people unlock their big milestone of buying that dream property that they want to buy in this dream land of Canada. Yeah.
Yes, I totally understand. And Umer, you've been a successful real estate agent. You've only been here a few years. What is one thing that you think is really important to stand out in this competitive market?
The one thing I would say is just be in front of people.
Mm.
Anytime they think of real estate, they should be thinking of you. And that stuck me from my past experience of working in digital marketing when I was promoting a lot of bigger businesses. The reason why they're actively present in the market is because they want to make a name for themselves.
Mm.
They want to be there every time they're looking for a real estate property or they're thinking of a real estate agent. From the very beginning of my career, I was very active on videos,
Mm.
right? Always educating people, talking about properties. Anytime I went to a showing where I saw like a good value for money, I used to present that on my social media and reach out to people and tell them, hey, a beautiful townhouse here in Milton, Mississauga, wherever that is. Great value for money, finished basement apartment, whatnot, great location. Are you thinking this might be good for you? Reach out to me, right? So showing that value proposition and being very active and talking to people and not being shy of it is what makes a difference and helps you get to where you want to be faster.
That's
Yeah.
brilliant. Be in front of people
Be in front of people every day consistently.
every day consistently.
Yeah,
And video and social media just magnify that and
exactly.
leverage you and the technology to be in front of 10, 100, 1,000 people at one time.
Yes, and you won't believe one day I was outdoor knocking in Mississauga,
Yep.
and I was at the door, and the client was like, "Hey, I think I recognize you from somewhere." It's like, "Where?" "Oh, I just saw your video on YouTube." and I'm surprised you're at my door. And we connected instantly, and I helped him sell his property. So, yes, social presence is important, but you also getting involved in your community, actively meeting people wherever you're going, and talking about what you can do in terms of bringing value, I think makes a big difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is great. Him seeing you on YouTube and then seeing at the door, it's like helped you to get the listing.
Yes, and close his property, sell his property, do an open house, find a neighbor who came through the open house,
Oh my
bought him a
God.
condo in Mississauga Square One. This was just last year, right? Again, the point here is yes, social presence is important, but it's also equally important to be engaging with people in and around your community and speaking to them and providing them the value that they're looking for in an agent,
Yep,
right?
yep. Speaking of being online, one of my clients back in 2016,
Mm-hmm.
17, we were searching for a property for about 4 months and we made two offers, they lost. And they were losing trust in me that I
Mm-hmm.
can get the job done. And they said, let's say her name is Mary. Mary told me, Ray, we don't want to look for a home anymore. I'm like, Mary, what happened? She's like, we just want to stay here, put in our townhouse. We don't need it detached anymore. My two kids are comfortable here. We tried two offers, it did not go through. And I said, Mary, I respect you, and if you want to stay, then stay. And we ended the call.
Mm-hmm.
The next day, she calls me. She's like, Ray, my kids saw you on YouTube and we want to go back and find houses.
Wow.
So then I said, great. What video did you find? They're like the video that you were showing the house and you sold it for over asking price. So my kids are inspired to go and find another house and they saw you on TV. That's unreal. So not
Mm-hmm.
only kids were happy, Mary herself, she was laughing. She's
Right.
like, Mary, she's like, Ray, let's go bike out. Let's go find. And the next weekend we went, we bought her a home. We
Wow.
sold her a townhouse.
That's amazing.
So the power of the video or them finding you online, it does the job as well or even better if you were talking to them.
Yeah, I agree.
And that was the situation that we lost the deal for a day and then they came back.
Yeah, and I think it's a social proof of no matter how much you're online, if you're not going out and kind of speaking or showing them what they want to see,
Yep.
then it can kind of come back and be at a place where things will not move forward.
Definitely, of
So,
course. And Umer, you mentioned your past experience in social media marketing and you're working in Dubai. Tell us a little bit more about that and how did that help you be equipped in real estate?
so I think when I had started early in 2015 working on the digital side of thing, that's when digital was evolving a lot.
And what were you doing?
And I was mostly into execution of campaigns
Okay.
where we used to pay promotions for advertisers.
Yep.
So I had a very good experience on executing of how to handle those digital campaigns, right? And when I started off in real estate, I used that experience to run paid ads with my videos to reach a broader audience who would then reach out to me watching videos on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok just started probably about a year or so. But then a lot of people used to see me online and reach out to me directly. And I used to do like paid execution where I know what I was doing. So that kind of helped me leverage my reach to a broader audience
Yeah.
and not limit myself to the circle of influence or to the relatives that we a lot of new real estate agents rely or depend on when they get their license. They feel, you know what, we have a big family circle, we've been living here for so long, we'll get business from the family or friends. And I think that's the biggest misconception that a lot of agents have, and that can backfire because, yes, you will get one or two deals, but for you to scale it up, you have to up your game and you have to reach maximum people as possible to do maximum amount of deals.
That is so
Yeah,
good. Well said.
yeah,
You gotta be reaching out and being in front of people, and you use your experience from the past as executor of these digital campaigns to implement into real estate.
yeah,
Videos in front of a lot of people, they reach out to you and you do business with.
yeah. And I want to say a quick story. As soon as I started real estate,
Yep.
one, I was very lucky
Yep.
to have this experience of marketing that I could leverage. And the very first month, you won't believe it, I had about five potential prospects that were ready to go. And one of the client was a seller client from Ethiopico who reached out to me. I don't know where she saw me. I think it was on Google where she said, "Hey, I just was browsing on the internet. I saw your website come through. I want you to come give me a home evaluation."
Wow.
She was my first client within my first month, sold her house, got her a house in one from Facebook, got somebody like that was my second client, sold their house in Brampton for 1.5 million, got them a custom house in Oshawa for about 1.5 million. And all of this happened within the first 2 or 3 months of me getting into my real estate. And then I bought a house for myself. So those five
Paid for
transactions,
your house.
those five transactions happened within like 2 months. And
Wow.
that happened because of the experience I had in the past. Now, a lot of agents may not have that experience, but what I'm trying to say is limiting yourself to your circle, to your family,
Mm,
to your friends, or to your network can really put you in a spot where you will find it challenging and struggle for business.
right.
So find more avenues where you can be present and where people can see you more often, so they reach out to you or you reach out to them, or they connect to you, you connect to them, so you can speak to them about the opportunities and kind of like drive your business to the next level.
Yep, absolutely. And what I studied in business
Mhm.
didn't have the digital background experience. In 2014, me coming out of school, not knowing anything, I picked up the old good phone book and I
Mhm.
started dialing the
Yeah.
homes that came off the market, the homes that wanted to sell themselves, the sellers, just listed, just sold. And it was in the beginning of the year. I called a home that came off the market at downtown on Capriel Court
Mhm.
and C1, and the older gentleman picked up, Mr. Graham, and he said, "We don't want to sell anymore because it had been on the market for 3 months. We did not get what we wanted, so now we just want to take off and rest." I said, "Graham, I appreciate that, and I want to do the same for you. You resting. Tell me, if you actually sold this home, where would you go next?" He's like, "I'm tired of condo market. I'm tired of condo living. I want to move closer to our daughter in East York, and she lives in a house, and I want to be closer to her, and she had a baby. I want to help them."
Mhm.
I said, "Graham, that sounds great. That sounds wonderful. If you could still get 450, they were selling 450 at that time,
I see.
2014, two bedroom, two bathroom in downtown,
Mhm.
which is crazy." I said, "Graham, if you could get 450 and still sell your condo and move to East York, closer to your daughter, to be with your grandson, would you do it?" And he said, "Yes, of course I'll do it." I said, "Great. Let me come over and have a look at it, and we'll sell your condo."
That's amazing. And I
He
also
agreed.
want to add to that is asking the right
Asking the
questions,
right
right?
questions. So
Yes.
important. We met with Graham, listed his condo. I did not know what I was doing. I listed it, helped my manager to do the listing, and we sold it.
It's
For
amazing.
430 we sold it. They moved to East York, and that was that. So my experience was calling and asking questions, calling and asking questions. And what you brought up is asking the right question. So if anybody new wants to come into the business, what advice would you give them?
I think it's very, very simple of what I've learned in this 3+ years of me being into real estate. Real estate is just meeting and talking to more people as possible in your day to day. and having the right goals, right? You're just setting realistic goals to yourself.
Mm.
Like, can you talk to 20, 25, 30 new people?
Mm.
And can you follow up with the past 15, 10, 5 people that you have spoken
Mm.
in the last week or last month? And you continue to do that on a day to day basis,
Mm.
right? So it's just about talking to more people. It can be going to them at their door, providing a market update, just speaking to them about the market. It can be meeting them at the open houses and just speaking to them about, okay, you live in the neighborhood, you want to move, do you have a house to sell, do you want to buy something else? Or it can just be like having a digital campaign where they reach out to you, or talking about so many great projects that are in Toronto. But the key is just talk to more people as much as possible and do it consistently, and the business will automatically come to you.
Automatically come to you.
Yes.
I love that, Umar. And you are such a good speaker. If you're speaking well and presenting yourself well, then naturally people will gravitate to you and do business with you.
Yeah.
What is something that you do on a regular basis to get inspired, to learn, and to stay on top of what's working on the market? What are some of the things that you're doing?
First of all, I want to say, like, in this business, there are so many rejections that you have to handle and keep yourself motivated.
Yeah.
Because if one person comes and slams a door when you're door knocking, or shouts at you when you're calling, or when he's having a bad day, it can really throw you under the bus. Now, one thing is you have to keep going and you have to keep motivating yourself, and you have to do that every single day consistently, and start as if like you're starting from zero. So what I personally do is I listen to one good podcast that fill you up with so much energy. No matter what happens in the day, you keep going and you keep pushing and you keep thriving and you keep hustling. So you keep listening to these good people who are passing you the good energy, number one. Number two is surround yourself with like minded people who want to grow like you. So even if you are having a bad day, but when you're in that good energy, it kind of fills you up and pushes you to do more.
Yeah.
And number three is like keep reading books. If you're not a person who likes reading,
Yep.
there are great audibles. There are so much information on the internet that is available for you right now to kind of take that in, seep that through, and push forward every day to make that productive day, or at least have 10, 15 meaningful conversations that you can take back and kind of leverage it for the next day or scale it up and kind of keep yourself going and just have those conversations with people.
Yeah, very well said. And what is the podcast that you were mentioning that you listen?
So I listen to a few.
Okay.
I listen to the Tom Ferry
Yep.
podcast. He provides a lot of good stuff as to what you should be doing in your business day to day, and how you should be training your mindset, like how you should have a very positive mindset that can push you to do more. And now, especially in a struggling market, like how you should be maintaining that every day, right? Then you also have this one other guy called Brandon.
Yep.
He does a lot of coaching on
Yep.
prospecting, like cold calling, how to handle rejections. And then you also have great podcasts from Richard Robbins. He has a lot of great local agents who are providing local market update or local scenarios of what's happening in their day to day. Kind of learn that up, apply that in your local market. So that is great. And a lot of good other day to day podcasts that you find value in. And you kind of like test and learn and see like which podcast are you resonating well with, right? And kind of like listen to that every 5, 10, 15 minutes a day, and also give gratitude as to what you're thankful for, so that can really keep you going with everything that is happening in the world right now. I think where we are in, we should be very thankful. We should have that gratitude that, we're in the great business, first of all, and there's so much to achieve and there's so much to do. And if you just have the right people who can guide you, surround yourself with the right people who can fill you up with the right energy, I think that will be nothing but the best that you can have for your business.
Yes, and I love what you said. I was talking to one of the top agents in the entire Canada. They're number one for Remax for the number of units sold and the transaction volume. And I asked him, "What is your goal?" And he said, "Ray, my goal," expecting he's going to tell me a transaction goal. He said, "Ray, my goal is to raise my level of self awareness." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "If I can have elevated level of self-awareness on a daily basis, then no matter what situation I'm in, I can choose and make decision to be most effective at that moment in any interaction under any circumstances." I said, "Wow.
Interesting.
Well, how do you raise your level of self-awareness?" He's like, "One, you got to take care of yourself and your mind and your body. You got to eat well, sleep well, and exercise. That is must.
Yes.
Second, you got to put in your mind good things. Read, listen, and watch the things that inspire you.
Wow.
Podcasts that you're reading are great. And then third, he said important one, you got to expose yourself to the people who do significantly higher things than you do.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you're aware of what's possible. And I'm really interested to know a few things of your preferences and how you think. So, in this market, would you advise someone, Umar, to go with a variable or fixed rate if they were to buy?
It's a very personal question, I would say.
Yep,
But it bottles down to the priorities, right?
yep,
If you have a mindset of holding a property for a minimum 5 years, and with everything that is going on in the market, a lot of uncertainty, and with the jobs and with your income and whatnot, and if you want to have that peace of mind to know no matter what, this will be my monthly payments every month, and I can have XYZ as my expense. And if you're getting a good competitive rate, then yeah, fixed is like a no brainer for you. But with the rates being so high, and if you feel, and if the market is giving us a sense that the rates will start to decrease starting next year or mid next year, then, and if you have the appetite to carry the variable mortgage, then I think it's the best to go with the variable mortgage, so you can have some sort of comfort that maybe next year or early next year you will have an ease of your monthly payments. Then I would say it would be variable mortgages. But coming back to my very first point, that it's a very personal
it
question on
is.
your finances, as to
Yes.
you know where you stand, and take that decision accordingly. I think the property market is such that in the next 2, 3, 4 years, it will definitely give you a lot of reward with
Yep.
regards to the appreciation, and whatever payments you're doing goes into equity building. So in the longer run, it will reward you either ways.
It'll reward either way.
Yes.
It's not time spent. It's not timing the market. It's time spent in
Spent
the
in the
market.
market. You
And
said
the
it right.
longer time you spend in the market, the more appreciation you'll reap.
Yes. And I think now is the time where, if you compare it to last year, where we had still a lot of competition, a lot of bidding wars, a lot of offer presentation dates. I think now is the time where people have that opportunity to pick and
Yep.
choose what they want,
Mm-hmm.
see what house is making sense for them in terms of the numbers, in terms of the location that they want for themselves, and kind of evaluate those options and buy something that they really look forward to, right? Whereas last year we never had that option. We were always rushing into submitting offers because the inventory was less, the supply was less, and the demand was penting up. That if it is not for this one, now you might not get anything better. So I think we're in that situation right now where buyers have more options to pick and choose, evaluate their options with the finances, and take a very informed decisions. Regard that you have a solid real estate agent who's not pushing you into something, but providing you with that value that you're really looking for as a buyer,
Of course,
right?
absolutely. And Umar, if somebody would come to you and ask, in today's market with interest rates so high, would you advise them to rent or to buy? Which is better, and where do you stand?
Um, I would say, see, again, buying a property in this market is the key,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're renting, yes, there is a saying that you're paying somebody's mortgage and whatnot, but also you're losing money,
Mm,
which could go into building your equity. You're losing time, which you can gain if the property would appreciate.
right.
And this market is a very reactive market.
It
Like
is.
tomorrow, if the Bank of Canada says, you know what, now the inflation is cooling down, we're going to reduce interest rates. Everyone that's sitting on the sideline will come back to market. You're renting, you'll still continue to rent. What property that you're able to buy today, you might not able to buy if there is a positive sentiment back in the market, right? So going back to my same point, if you can buy enough, carry that property for 5 years, and if you're finding like a really good deal that's making sense to you in terms of value, location, space, it's absolutely no brainer to go and buy that property than to rent and commit yourself somewhere to a year lease, then another year lease, and then you're just pushing yourself out of that property ladder, and losing time in the market. So I am a strong believer, if you have the appetite, the capacity to go buy, there's no point of like waiting to not buy and to rent.
Of course, make total sense. And if somebody wants to invest, would you recommend a low rise or a high rise for investment?
It's a very good question. It depends on the finances again. With high rise, you have more flexibility with the deposit. You know, if you invest today, you're getting the product in 4 or 5 years. With low rise, again, with freehold properties like detached towns, semis, you invest, you're gonna get it in 18 months. With low rise condominiums, 2 3 years. So it depends on what level of investment it is and what level of cash or down payment you have towards investment. Now, if you are that person who would say, you know what, I would want to invest and move into the property in 18 months, 2 years down the line, then low rise is a great investment. If you have some surplus funds that's sitting in the bank and doing no good for you, then high rise, so you're buying more time and having more flexibility for your investment. And eventually, we are having so many immigrants that are coming into the country, and things will be so much different 4 or 5 years down the line. So your money is better off the use. So priorities depends
Yep.
on your investment. So I would say sit down with somebody who can guide you in the way where is more beneficial for you. Discuss your plan, have a roadmap, and act accordingly. There's a lot of opportunity in terms of the pre-construction market right now. So get yourself educated, have the right information, create a roadmap, see what is making sense to you, and kind of move forward in that direction.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that, Umer.
Yeah.
And in 2020, 21, and 22, a lot of people bought properties and they chose to go with variable rate. And since beginning 2022 until now, we had about 10 times interest rate hikes, in total of full 4 or 5%.
Yeah.
And their payments went up and up and up and up, to the point that many people are struggling to make their payments or they have to cut down. Thinking of selling their property or holding, what do you suggest to those people with variable mortgages right now at the highest rates that they have seen in the last, really, our market in 25 years?
Yeah, I think it's a very important point of discussion, and a lot of people are talking about it. And no one anticipated that the rates would go this high, right? And that's why it's very important to not over leverage yourself. Now, when you over leverage yourself, you're putting yourself in a very tight situation. I understand not a lot of people anticipated this coming, but what I'm foreseeing that in the future coming months, things will start to stabilize and the market is going to get better. So if you have that appetite to hold, I'm a strong believer, hold the property for another few months or another year or two, because things are going to get better. But if you really have to sell, then I would say speak to somebody, to evaluate what options you have and see if you have different sources that you can leverage for now to carry and hold that property, and when the time is right, so you can maximize the potential and take out and move into something else. Again, discuss with the right people as to what you want to do and take things forward accordingly.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is great advice, Omer. Every single thing has been on point.
Yeah.
What is one incident or a story that happened in your real estate career that will really show the lows of real estate agent and really the highs of being a real estate agent that really encapsulates the whole real estate agent journey? Was there a story that you experienced like, this business is challenging? Or on the other side, a story that really resonated and you said, this business is rewarding?
It's a very good question that we all go through on a day-to-day
Of
basis.
course.
It's this business, as I said, has so many rejections that you feel low and you feel high in a nickel of a time.
Yep.
Um, for example, if you have an offer going on and the offer goes through, you feel so positive, you feel so good. And if the same offer doesn't go to, for whatever reason, the conditions were not, and you feel so low and you feel so like, what am I doing? Is this all right? I think it's very important to understand the longer picture of this career altogether. Every agent will have his highs and the lows, but it's really up to you as to how you can maintain your decorum of your mindset to keep the momentum going,
Right.
right? It's been a very challenging year for a lot of realtors, but what I've noticed is the realtors who are putting in the amount and the energy to work every day on a consistent basis and who have a positive mindset, who understand this industry, that yes, it is a very slow market right now, but things will bounce back, and if you are putting that amount of effort right now, I think you will maintain the decorum of having a very neutral energy. But to answer your question, it happens to us every single week or month where you feel low, that things are not moving, and when they start to move, you feel so positive and so good. And I think this is the nature of industry that we are in, that we will always feel this no matter what.
Yes.
And it's up to you as to how you have trained your mind to keep going every day, regardless you had a deal this month, this week, or not, or you're going to have something in the future. Just being positive and working towards it.
Yep. Makes total sense. Sharing of stories of real estate highs. I was at an open house, and the buyers came in with the family, and we really connected. I asked them questions. What are you looking for? They told me what they're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew this house was not the right house for them. I said, I will get you the right house and we'll go ahead and see it. The same day, I took them to another house. They liked that house. Then we made an offer on that house and we bought it. And we negotiated a really good price for them.
Wow.
1,580,000. We bought it. Let's say her name is Gina. Gina bought the property with the husband and the kids. They were ecstatic. They were moving from Downsview area to Vaughan
Mm-hmm.
for a better school, better area, and the husband was working in Vaughan. Then the next day I met to see them to list their house. I saw their house. I said, this is how much we can sell it for 1.2 million, but we will list it for 999 to get 1.2. They said, agreed. We signed the listing agreement. We prepared the house for sale. We put it on the market. We sold it in a week. 1.2 million. They bought 158. We sold for 1.2. I met them at an open house. I thought I was on top of the world. I made two deals from a lead that walked in into an open house.
Mm-hmm.
Closing was supposed to be end of August. And come around mid-July, out of nowhere, they decided not to sell, but they didn't tell me. What they did, this is, you're gonna laugh. What they did, Gina went to the seller's door, knocked on the door, and they said, we want to cancel the deal. And the seller's like, okay, we don't mind. We want to stay. She found online a mutual release agreement. She signed it without my knowledge, without listing agent's knowledge. And then the seller signed it. They've mutually agreed to break their agreement.
Wow.
And then they sent me mutual agreement. Gina says, Ray, we're not buying the house anymore. I'm like, what happened? You guys wanted to buy this house. They're like, we changed our mind. Next thing, she calls the buyer that bought their house for 1-2. She's like, we're no longer selling our house to you. It's like, what happened? We bought the house. We're renting. It's our first home. We're going to move in. They're like, no, we're not moving. You do whatever you want. We will not come to the closing table or sign the agreement.
Interesting.
And the buyers were forced to sign a mutual release again. So one day I was on top of the world, made 2 deals with a client that I met at the open house. The next week, I felt so sad and mad that this client went to break 2 deals, and I was out of $80,000 commission.
Wow.
So that is the lows and the highs that every day we experience,
Yes.
and we have to keep ourselves cool, calm down. We have to keep ourselves very optimistic no
Mm-hmm.
matter what happens,
Yeah.
because we will get it. And Umer, you did mention that you have 2 kids, 2 girls, and they're both under 2.
Yeah.
With so much in demand and clients and calls, you received 4 calls while we were here, open houses on the weekend, and such a busy schedule. How do you manage to be with your family and most importantly 2 beautiful girls?
I think first of all, I have to thank God and thank my wife for blessing us with 2 little girls. And she is the backbone of the family, providing a lot of help and support. But as a father, you also want to make sure that you're giving the kids enough time that they need, right? This is the time that they want you the most, and this is the time that you want to see them growing up and all the little things that they're doing in life, be it learning to walk, be it learning to talk, be it learning to like call you, and so much more. So I think what I've done in my day to day is kind of prioritizing my family and balancing the work. So try to finish work by 6:30, and then give most of my evening time with my family, and also taking breaks during the week if needed to kind of help and support the family. Um, but it's really about trying to manage your day well, right? Having a proper schedule, like waking up early, knowing what you're doing the next day. So you're
Mm.
not getting up with no plan. When you have a plan in place, a lot of things become easy.
Yep.
All right. So it is, yes, as real estate agents, it's very hard for us to follow a schedule. But at least if you have a structure of what you want to do in your day to day, it becomes easy to give time to your work and to balance time with the family. And it's very important we have a good blend of family time, personal time, and work time, right? Because you just don't want to be working and then the other side, your family is struggling to get time from you. I don't think it's a good balance of a healthy life, right? So having a proper schedule in place and making sure you're giving good amount of time to your work and balancing it with family, I think that's been a key to kind of balance or juggle both the things off. But certainly need to plan that ahead of time so you're not off the track. And it's easy with so many distractions you have in the day, right? You can be carried away with so much time spent on social media, so many new series releasing on Netflix. You gotta figure out what is important to you and kind of channelize it in a way that it's being more productive and you're being more honest to your work and to yourself, because if you're not doing that, it can be really easy to go off the track
Yep.
and face a lot of challenges and really get kicked out of this business. Because if you look at it, a lot of agents who step into this business, the first 2 years they're out because they
Yep.
cannot manage it.
Yep.
And a lot of people say, oh, now I'm gonna do my thing where I can follow my schedule, I can do this and I can do that. And it's so easy to get lost with
Uh-huh.
so many distractions, right? So it's very important for you to channelize and have a right schedule and follow a roadmap, and most importantly jot down your goals as to what you want to do every single week, month, quarterly, bi-yearly, annually, and measure them and try to get better at it every week, every month, and every year.
Well said.
Yeah.
You sound very intelligent, Umar.
This is what I do,
This is
so
what you do. This is great. Time management, scheduling, goal setting,
yes.
and it is critical to any aspect of your life, business or personal. And regards to kids and personal, I remember a Russian philosopher and an author, Fyodor Dostoevsky.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Your soul heals with children. If you want to heal your soul, spend time with babies." And that really resonates with me. I may have the most tiring day, the most stressful negotiation. I may have headache, I may have lost a deal, or we may have done 6 deals. And when I see my sons, my daughter, and I spend 5 minutes with them, everything that was dealing with is out. And I become so calm and restful
Mm-hmm.
and at peace. And my whole heart is in with love with them, looking into their eyes, hugging, and saying, I love you. And they say, I love you too. And this becomes a whole complete one unit of calmness, of unity and peace, where everything else in distraction in the world does not matter at that moment. So that moment is the most important one, and I rejoice in that.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you. And there are so many days in my day to day where I cannot just wait to get back home and
Exactly.
be with my kids and with my wife and just enjoy our dinner time together, play with them. And you said hug them, cuddle them, and the way you the time you open the door and the time they're like rushing and coming,
Yeah.
I think that's the most beautiful part of your day. And being a father, I think that's the biggest gift in the life that you can have, and having that gratitude and realizing the blessing that you have, I think it's immense. And really, we're in a great country, in a
Yep.
great career, in a great industry, and kind of having everything together is just nothing short of like a great blessing.
100%. And it's been my pleasure speaking with you,
Same
Umer.
here.
Thank you so much. And if anybody wants to find you, connect you, where do you go? Where did they go about
You can find me anywhere
it?
online, but most used Instagram, Umar Farouk dot real estate. You can find me there. I'm very active on YouTube, Umar Realtor, TikTok, LinkedIn. I'm very active everywhere, so feel free to connect with me. Any questions you may have, any advice, suggestion you may want, or just have a casual conversation, I'm very much happy to share my learnings, because I take so much learnings from all industry experts just like yourself. So feel free to connect and reach out.
Definitely. Well, thank you everyone so much. We had Umer as a guest, and we'll see you next time.